I nearly fell off a trail in the Andes because my pack was really heavy and my foot went. And I sort of just stopped myself from toppling over. He said, it's a good place to die, a beautiful place to die. I said, I don't want to die yet, let's get out of here. My name is Pete Casey, I'm from southern England. I've just completed a world first expedition, go up the Amazon River on foot from sea to source to sea and swimming every body of water that was in the way as well. And it's very rare for someone from my sort of background to do things like this. I grew up on quite a poor social housing estate and I used to escape to a local library and read the atlases. I went home and asked my dad, Dad, where are the Andes? And he said, they're on the end of the armies, son. That's how much geography my parents knew. It's always had like a magical sort of appeal, that word, Amazon. I was working in the construction industry and I was self-employed because I didn't like working for other people. I was very, very busy 7 days a week, just trying to pay the mortgage off and everything else. And I think it was 2007, there was a newspaper cutting about a local guy from the town I live was going to start an expedition with Ed Stafford, the explorer, in walking the Amazon. It clicked with me, you know, and it was a bit of an escape from the sort of reality of working and stuff. I got involved and I walked with them for about 3 weeks, 4 weeks. You know, I was feeling a bit fed up with working and a few other things going on. And I thought, maybe I could do the Amazon, but do it the other way around. You know, no one's done that before. I wasn't even aware that people talked about expedition. It's normally very quite elite people, wealthy families. I did mention doing something to a few people. I got the feeling, you coming from there? No. Yeah, it made me a little bit angry, and I thought, I'll just go and do it myself. I did try to get sponsors, and no replies from anybody, nothing. So I sold my home. I wanted to get this right, I spent a lot of time prepping and training, physical training and open water swimming. I prepped well and studying the maps, learning navigation, learning to use a compass. I'd never done any of it before, so I even tried to learn Portuguese as best I could. I did read up on the various indigenous tribes and the situation now and the history, the terrible colonial history. I wanted to be, not just some British white person going to do this and say, look at me, I'm the first. I wanted to sort of educate myself. I learned more when I was walking with the locals, Obviously I learnt a few things, but their skills are so fine-tuned, you could never really learn from a book. I guess the first major problem was when I underestimated a leg of the expedition in rainy season to cut across to a tributary. And we got stuck in nightmare forest, low-lying, tangled up to here. You couldn't even move forward. It was getting dark. I was thinking, but at least they're finding my buttons because I have a GPS location of the last point. The guy I was with, he was evangelical, and he said, right, he could see I was upset. He said, it's a good place to die, a beautiful place to die. That's the best day of your life when you die. I said, I don't want to die yet. And by some miracle, I sent a message out to a friend and said, look, can you look at the topographical maps and tell me where the highest point is within 500 meters where we are? And he gave me a bearing and we headed for it and we found just a little patch above the flooded forest. There was probably quite a few close calls. Jaguar at night entering the campsite. It was surreal, but a bit scary. It was under the hammock. And I could hear it grunting and snort. My guide said, is that jaguar? Onto. My heart started going, and it was big. And I turned over and turned my headlight on, and I heard it go off. And then I scanned the forest, and I could see its eyes, and then it disappeared. So I hired someone to walk with me further for a few days, and then we were going to cross back to the main channel. But the indigenous guy, changed his mind at the last minute. So I got him back downriver to his village, and that's when we were watching the little TV they had with a battery. That's when I heard the news about lockdown, and they said the world's going to end.
China has identified the cause of the mysterious new virus.
Coronavirus.
Before the rivers got locked down, which they did, I decided to pay someone to take me back down to the farmhouse. And I said, can I stay at your farmhouse until this is over? I mean, it might just be a few weeks. Like, okay, yeah, they were happy. As long as I look after the pigs that they got there. When I was in lockdown, I was literally on the edge of a tributary of the main river, called the Rio Tapichi in Peru. Come high water, I started seeing huge swathes of logs tied together, just floating down on their own, cutting down the forests and sending it downriver, one load after another, after another, after another, just floating past. And I thought, all that nice forest up there, if that goes on every day for months and months, every year, how much is that going to be in 5 years, 10 years? It's pretty sad to see it firsthand, knowing that that's the lungs of the planet. And they're just all worried, they're just fearful of their way of life just disappearing.
Would you still take me for a fool if I let you give it all away for you? So take me.
But it was quite a quiet finish, quite a quiet finish. There was some media there, a national newspaper for Peru, 3 musicians from the nearby town who walked with me and played their flutes and stuff. Yeah, I was glad it was over. I guess, yeah, I was glad I arrived and I was alive. I've walked on glass and I've not cut my feet sort of thing. I've survived this and done it. And yeah, I was walking on air for a little bit, yeah. I felt a couple of times there was resenting, thinking, I spent all this time, what was it for? You know, you have those moments, don't you, So I'm still sort of thinking that now, I'm still working it out. I couldn't relax much for the first week or so. It felt nice not to have a backpack strapped to my back.